Oops. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of No Title Needed right here at the beautiful Feinstein's Cabaret at the Hotel Carmichael in Carmel, Indiana, USA. I'm Cynthia Collins.
I'm Scott Osborne.
We are your co-hosts.
As always.
And forever.
And ever.
Oh my gosh. And today we have our guest, Michael Schaefer. Michael, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
You, first thing, talking before we hit the air here, you have about 1,001 irons in the fire.
I always do. Yes. Hopefully, I'm not going to drop any of the balls. So that hasn't happened so far. So.
Right? Because that's hard. All
Right.
the juggling,
Right.
juggling act you do. But you raise money
Right.
for independent films, for documentaries.
I have. Yes. Yes.
And I know you and your husband have invested in certain things as
Right.
well.
A couple of films. Yes.
Right.
We have.
Right now, I mean, I'm just interested, like, right now, what's the main project currently?
I'm working with Pigasus Pictures. We are doing a film about women breaking into the Little 500 bike race. And we've invested in that. And we hope to be shooting the film this winter or early spring of next year.
Oh, great.
And we're calling it the sequel to Breaking Away.
I just was about to say.
It's a true story about the first women's, Little 500, riding the big bikes and not the tricycles like they rode when the Mini 500 started in the 1950s.
Because didn't the Mini 500 just happen? Am I mistaken? When is the Mini 500 down at IU?
It's the same weekend as the Little 500, but now both the women's race and the men's race is called the Little 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that Breaking Away.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Right.
What a great film.
Yeah, absolutely. Called classic.
And Who's Your Pride?
isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, well, that's very interesting. Oh my gosh. So you have that. It's very difficult to raise money.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Right. Getting people to invest.
Right.
In something that they're like, how do you go about it?
Well, with
What's your technique? You, Michael.
Again, I look for people who are passionate about the subject, and I'm only getting investors for movies that are true stories. And then the IEDC, with the state of Indiana, gave us a 25% state income tax credit to any investors who invested in the film.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And are they going to film it at IU? Or are they going to film it
It'll be filmed in
locally?
Bloomington.
Right in Bloomington.
Right.
That's great.
We'll have about 200 employees on set. And to get that 25% state income tax credit, we had to promise that we would hire Indiana residents. Wow. It's an economic development, project, for them. And we're doing 3 internships with the Maurer Law School, with the film school, and with the media school about the movie industry. There'll be 4 credit internships while we're filming down there.
It's great.
This next year. So it's a great partnership.
Yeah, that's
great partnership.
That's great.
awesome.
And it's a full-length feature.
Yes.
It's an independent,
Absolutely.
Of course, but it's full-length.
Full-length,
Not a short,
feature film.
not
No.
a-
Yeah, major motion picture.
Are you going to be
great.
doing any filming during the race next year?
Probably. It's kind of we're just working on the schedule right now. We're in casting.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been specifically outlined yet, but
Yeah. What? How did you get to? You could raise money for anything, or you could do marketing for anything.
right.
Just some marketing,
which I've done my whole life. Sure.
Right. Exactly. But why? I mean, come on. Why film? Why that? Why that?
Well, we have a good friend who they were friends with Zachary Spicer, the CEO of Pigasus Pictures, and wanted my husband and I to meet with them. And I was like, I'm just not interested. Investing in a movie is high risk. Don't even want to meet with them. And she kept bugging us. And we met with Zachary, and fellow IU grad. I went to IU. This story happened the year I graduated in the 80s at IU. And Zachary grew up in Greencastle, salt of the earth, went to IU, then left there and went to New York and did some Broadway, some TV, and then some movies. And we just really, really had a solid connection. And then I heard that state was behind it. It's like, wow, this is a really good opportunity. And I helped them raise some additional funds for the film. And then another opportunity came along to do a major motion picture about Eva Kor.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Graham Honecker and Alex Kor about a year ago put out a book about Eva. And Graham called me up. He knew I was in the movie business, which at the time I thought was laughable. And we had like a 2-hour lunch. And he said, I think we need to do Ted Green had already done a documentary
Yes,
How about
well,
Eva
the
Kor?
doc. There's two of them.
Yeah,
the,
yeah, right,
the
right.
big PBS one,
Right.
that went to PBS. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I said to Graham, I said, no, I wouldn't do another major documentary. This should be a major motion picture. So the following week, Zachary Spicer from Pigasus Pictures, I got the four of us, Alex and Graham together. We had dinner, and Zachary basically said to me, if you can go out and raise X amount as startup investment capital, that will retain Pigasus, to do the film. And I went out in about 4 or 5 weeks and raised what we needed,
Wow.
to do that. So we're
pretty
still
short.
Yeah.
we're still in the very, very early stages of the planning for the film. We think maybe we have the director we're going to hire. But again, the Holocaust and Holocaust education, people are passionate about that. I am passionate about that. That is so critical in today's times. And when you talk to people about raising money, I mean, the Holocaust, it makes it a lot easier if the movie is for a good reason. This is not just to make money.
Right.
But of course, that's why, investors do, invest in something to get a return.
Well, like you said, Mike, you're only doing true stories,
Right.
true human interest
Exactly.
stories,
Yeah.
which is so much more interesting.
Absolutely.
Times-
Both of these stories really
it's
are.
just you can't, because it's like you said, it's true.
When you see that pop up at the beginning of a movie, it totally
Right.
it changes your whole perspective on how you enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
And the other film that I got involved in is Spencer Pride, Spencer, Indiana. It's in Owen County next to Monroe County, Bloomington. Town is 2,000. They have the only LGBTQ plus Pride Center brick and mortar 3 stories in the nation in a rural town. Their Pride is the first weekend of October. Town of 2,000 had 8,000 people show up for their Pride.
Wow.
Good for them.
It's a phenomenal story. A young gay couple moved to Spencer, Indiana, started meeting people.
Well,
It's not utopian, but it brought the whole community together. From an economic development standpoint, there's gift stores and restaurants around the square. It's just an amazing story.
Changed the whole town.
So I'm helping them raise money for that film. We eventually would like to take it to PBS to kind of put a spotlight on Indiana and show that there are really good things
because that's
happening in our state. We have quite a reputation.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
to me.
right.
I'm not a native of Indiana, and though I reside in Carmel now.
Right.
It's not the noir. It's not really mainstream.
Right.
For a rural town in Indiana to do that.
They have all kinds of programming, and I mean, as an example, they have a grief support group, and a lot of straight men and women who have lost a spouse go there. They don't want to drive into Bloomington for grief support, so I mean, they've involved the whole community. It's not just for the gay community at all. I mean, it's really something.
But that couple went there. They really took a chance.
Right.
I mean, they really took a chance.
Absolutely.
It's not like they were coming to Indianapolis, a bigger metropolis, to do that. I mean, that is, so kudos to them. Kudos to you.
Yeah. It's a great story.
For spotlighting that. Thank you. And, all right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be right back with you, Michael. Michael Schaefer, so interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to No Title Needed. We are here with our pal, Michael Schaefer.
Hello.
Raising money for independent films, documentaries. You have some really cool things going on.
Absolutely.
What you've mentioned before the break, all the independent films and the documentary about Eva Kor. So you got
and that's going to be a major motion picture, not a documentary.
Major motion picture, right? Because she's had, we said she's had the two docs, but and bringing work to Indiana.
Right, exactly, which is
bringing employment.
Right.
To Indiana, which is great.
Right, it's economic development.
Exactly.
The movie industry is absolutely sure.
Yep. And I kind of think that's really cool. I'm an actor, and I do this kind of stuff. So I think when you can actually film in the spot where it's taking place, which is so difficult sometimes.
Well, Indiana has great assets. We have an ocean in Indiana. I say that, and people look at me dumb look. We have Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
That's where that serves as the ocean. It's a lot less expensive to film on Lake Michigan than it is the Atlantic or the Civic.
And you can't see anything from the other side.
Right,
So
exactly. So Indiana has great assets from a filming perspective.
Yeah. What is this Destination Indy? I mean, what is that all about?
It's a project I've been working on for about a year and a half. There has been a need in Indianapolis for an arts, entertainment, and dining publication, and also for a web portal. And there's about 4 publications in Indianapolis right now that they do an arts guide that comes out in August. They're combined great publications, but their combined circulation's about 75,000. We're going to be direct mailing 150,000 copies. It's going to be called Destination Indy. About a third of it will be editorial, and it'll cover the arts and entertainment and dining market in the 7-county area, basically. And I met with Frank Basile about a year and a half ago. I involved David Starkey, CEO of the Opera. I've spent a year and a half meeting with arts CEOs, Jeff McDermott at the Palladium, of course, getting feedback from them on what is really needed. I didn't want to come up with something and say, hey, here's what we're doing. What does the arts community need from a marketing standpoint? So I guess there's 3 legs to the stool. The first leg is that publication. Be glossy, 8.5 by 11, direct mailed to 150,000 households. The second leg of the stool is a web portal. A college buddy of mine who lived in Manhattan for many years. He became the CFO of the MTV network and Nickelodeon. And then they moved their financial operations to Nashville, Tennessee. And so he and his husband decided to retire to Phoenix. He goes to Phoenix, and just like Indianapolis, it's like, well, what do we want to do this Saturday? Well, you got to go to the IRT website. Then you got to go to the Opera site. Then you got to go to the Palladium site. And there is not one source where everything is located. So he developed phxstages.com 9 years ago in Phoenix, and it has just exploded. There's really nothing like it that I could find in the country.
So now will these, the hard, like the in hand, will they also be in the hotels?
We had a meeting with Visit Indy. We're kind of working on some additional distribution for that. We've not figured all that out yet, but the key is it's going to go into the homes, higher income households in the 7-county area, which is really important.
Yeah. But, go ahead. No, go ahead.
But, from the web portal standpoint, the museums will be there, not just nonprofit arts organizations, but hopefully Hi-Fi, the Vogue, White Rabbit, Cabaret. And when we came up with this concept, if I would have, and we're going to launch in August, if I would have gone to these potential advertisers and said, hey, here's what we're going to do, I'd like you to start paying a fee in August, they would all say, well, there's no proof of concept, there's no traffic yet. So it's going to be free from August until the end of December for everybody.
And once a month, right?
No, the website, it's going to be it's a website.
Not the website, but the hard copy.
3 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 times a year.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah, right.
There.
But the website will be free for all the organizations to have their information on the website.
How, I'm asking this because how are the organizations, like you talked to Jeff. Jeff's the head of the Center for the Performing Arts. Right. But there are resident theater companies in there.
Yeah, they'll all be included.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Encore, that's a group of 8 small community theaters. They will all be included.
And even the community theaters will be into.
Different organizations and the Arts Council, they've tried to do this for years, but they've relied on the arts organizations to go in and update their own information.
That's right.
We're hiring employees, and each of our employees will be assigned a certain number of arts organizations. We will reach out to them daily, weekly, or monthly to get their updates.
Great.
So that when you go to that site, everything is there. It's not a ticketing site, but we'll have a calendar. You'll see everything that's going on in Indianapolis. Yeah. You click on it, it'll go to their website to buy tickets.
Yeah,
right.
Great.
But anything to do, any destination, dining, museums, and so forth are going to be on the website.
Great.
So a real hub. Yeah. We're going to have a auditions tab, audition call-outs. Especially the small theaters have a very hard time getting that word out. In Phoenix, what Gil has done is there's one source now. All audition call-outs come from this one website. We're going to have a gala tab. The arts organizations themselves don't know when each other's galas are. You'll be able to click on the gala tab, and every gala in town is going to be there with a link to how to buy tickets to that gala.
There have been so many times where I've wanted that exact thing in this community.
Classes and camps. I met with the Indianapolis Children's Choir.
Yeah, I see.
And they have fantastic camps and classes.
They do.
So we're going to have a link for classes and camps for everybody.
So you're getting it all in there, and that's really great because you're right. Obviously, everybody has their own website, and so you go to this website, you go to that website, and that's fine. I mean, everybody should have their own website, and everybody's on Facebook now, and their own page on Facebook. But that's nice to have that all together.
And that
It's really a one-stop shop.
Visit Indy, it would be for anyone coming in outside of the state.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
Right there,
Destination Indy.
Yeah.
Our focus is the 7-county area, trying to get people to stay in the 7 counties, participate in the arts.
Yeah.
If you look from an economic development standpoint, if you add up all the economic development dollars from the arts community, it's really larger than the sports community.
Wow.
And the venues that we have in the city, everything from the 40-seat Black Box Theater at the District Theater on Mass Ave to 70,000 seats at Lucas Oil Stadium,
Right.
and a great variety of venues in the 7 counties that most cities in this country do not have.
Right.
We have a very thriving arts community.
Yeah, especially, here in Carmel, what happened here and,
Right.
and the boom of the arts
Right.
and what Mayor Brainerd did is pretty incredible for the Midwest.
Yeah.
The Palladium itself and the whole Center for the Performing
Absolutely.
Arts is really not a ton of that here at all.
Right.
This is probably it.
Sure.
Being an artist, feel very blessed to be in this community.
So, okay, here we go. Talk about this. Still gray, feeling groovy.
That is a fundraiser we're going to have on June 22nd
Yep.
for
Got it.
what we're calling EPIC. It's Elder Pride Indie Collaborative. A quick story on how this all started.
Okay.
A good friend of mine, Dan Evans, and his brother moved their gay uncle to Indianapolis from Manhattan. He's 97 years old. Grew up in Frankfurt, went to Northwestern. He became an extra at New York Life, lived in Manhattan. He was out his whole life in New York.
Yeah.
Moved him back here to an assisted living facility. He went back in the closet because he was terrified how he might be treated.
Yeah.
Dan calls me and says, are there any services for the gay elder community in Indianapolis? We have IYG for the younger community, Trinity Haven, which is a gay homeless center in Indianapolis, but there was nothing for that population. So I went online and I found an organization based in Manhattan called SAGE, Services and Advocacy for GLBTQ Elders.
Okay.
It's in 37 states, but not in Indiana.
Right.
So I said to Dan a year and a half ago, I said, we have got to start this for the city, this nonprofit. And I invited 14 people a year and a half ago to sit around the table. Alan Witchy, CEO of the Damien Center, the 2 top LGBTQ plus doctors in the city, a mental health professional in that community. I invited 14 people. All 14 came to the meeting. I've never seen so much passion around this.
Good for you.
We raised $45,000 and engaged Taylor Advising to do a strategic plan for us. That is supposed to be done by the end of May. They did surveys, focus groups, a lot of research of these other organizations around the country, what they're doing.
Right.
And we should have the results in about a month.
Right.
And once we have those results, we'll kind of decide what to do with the nonprofit. But SAGE provides health services, mental health services, legal services, all the way up to in the Cleveland affiliate, they've built LGBTQ plus specific assisted living, independent living centers for that population. So, but there's a lot of excitement and interest around starting this nonprofit.
This guy right here.
Yeah, Norman Lasser.
Yeah.
He's a fabulous cabaret performer.
Okay.
He's going to perform at the cabaret on Pennsylvania.
Yes, of course. Shannon for Sales Place. Yeah.
And June 22nd, dinner's at 4:30. The show starts at 6 o'clock.
Right.
And that's our first fundraiser for this organization. So
great.
we're real excited about doing this for the city.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really needed.
And you are really doing some great things.
Well, I appreciate it.
Here.
I appreciate it. I
It's
have a lot of help.
Yeah, well, come on, it nobody does it alone.
Takes a village.
And it takes a village,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And so, you're doing it. It's just talking about
Right,
it.
exactly.
You're
Yeah,
doing it.
Right. Well, thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
We have to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Flies when you're having fun.
Michael, you're a great guy.
Well, I appreciate it very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for being
Enjoyed
here.
it. Sure.
True.
I appreciate everything you're doing, and for that community, being a person of that community.
Right,
so
right.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
Hope to see you June 22nd.
Yeah, right. I know. I'll just be getting done with the show, actually. But thank you so much for joining us for another episode of No Title Needed at the beautiful Feinstein's Cabaret. Come on over. See a cabaret. My God,
It's fantastic.
It's just a
shows
wonderful
every
place.
time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on. They have wonderful artists here. It's a beautiful venue. Get some great nosh, some great cocktails, and see some wonderful cabaret artists. Michael Schaefer, Cynthia Collins.
Scott Osborne.
Oh my gosh, all together again for the first time. And so thanks again, and we'll see you next time.